What's up everyone, welcome back on the show. Today we're taking care of Homer Simpson, his favorite craving, the donut. Or actually the beignet, because the donut originally is coming from France. I checked all the history book and I know I'm right. And we are filling it with some hazelnut paste, which I will not name the brand because they are not paying me. So let's go. Alright, we're gonna start by developing the yeast. So I'm gonna take my dry yeast and I'm gonna put into my bowl. And then I'm gonna add my warm water. We're gonna take some of the sugar, about a tablespoon. And we're gonna whisk it just to get it all together. And I'm still waiting on my tiny whisk. I'm gonna let that ferment for about 10 minutes and then we're gonna move on to the next step. Alright, while the yeast is proofing, we're actually going to work on heating up some sugar with the salt, some butter, and our milk. And we're going to put that on medium heat and we're gonna just melt it and that's it. Okay, so our mixture is now melted. We're gonna pour into a bowl and then I'm gonna add about half of the flour. We're gonna mix that with a whisk. It should be like a thick paste. Once I've obtained a thick paste, I want to switch from the whisk to a spatula. Then we're gonna add our egg and Yeasty Boys. Okay, and then we're going to mix everything together. And when our mix is smooth, we're going to add the rest of the flour. And make sure it's incorporated before we knead it. Okay, once we've obtained a really thick dough, but very sticky, we're going to move on to the bench. So I'm going to take some of our extra flour and I'm going to put it on our table. Be generous with that step. And we're going to pour our elastic dough onto the bench. Make sure we grab everything out of the bowl. You can even use some flour to get it out easier. Once that is done, we're going to start kneading right on the bench. Alright, so we're going to start kneading the dough. Just keep in mind that the dough is going to be very elastic and very sticky, so you're going to have to add a lot of flour, but not too much. You want to make it sure it's not sticking to your finger. It's nice and smooth. And as we go, the flour is going to get incorporated. You can even slap it. And repeat the process all the way until it's smooth and not sticking anymore. Okay, now our bowl is nice and smooth, it doesn't stick anymore. I'm going to grab a bowl, which I'm going to put a little bit of flour in the bottom. And we're going to scoop our dough. Make sure we grab it all. And then we're going to place it in the bowl. I'm going to cover it, I'm going to make a few holes in the plastic wrap. Cover it, let it on my stove to proof for about an hour and a half. Pretty much all the way until it doubles in size. I will catch you soon. Okay, it's been about an hour 15. My dough is now double in size, so I'm just gonna remove the plastic. As you can see, it's nice and bubbly. And we're just simply gonna put a little bit of flour in our hands and we're gonna lift the dough and also make sure we degas it. So remove all the gas by punching it in. But you've seen that in my previous video. And then we're gonna put the dough onto the bench. And then we're just going to do a little bit of flour as well. And then we're going to start rolling it to about an inch thick. So we want our donut to be nice and plump. So we don't want to crush the dough too much. Do that quickly. We're going to cut some. And then whatever exceed dough we have, we can re-roll it. I would say up to 2 times after it's going to be a little bit elastic. So I'm just going to grab a rain cutter. And I'm simply going to cut my little donuts. Here we go. Just like so. Boom. There we go. So we're gonna remove the extra dough just like that. There we go. And then we're gonna take those donuts and we're gonna place them onto our tray for the second proof. We want to be very gentle, and the reason why I'm putting them onto parchment paper is when we actually cook it, we're gonna just place the parchment paper in the oil, slide it out, and that way we're gonna keep the beautiful shape that we work really hard on. That is why. So I'm just gonna place the rest of the donuts on my tray, and then we're gonna go for the second proof. So I'm going to cover it loosely with some plastic wrap. You can use a towel as well. And we're gonna put them back to proof, probably for like half hour to 45 minutes, pretty much until they double in size. I know I said that a lot on the show, and then we're going to fry them. All right, we're back. So I'm just putting the oil to heat up. Our donuts are nicely risen. We're just gonna cook them very shortly. But first, let's make our cinnamon. I'm gonna mix 1 cup of sugar with 2 tablespoons of cinnamon powder. And we're just going to use a fork and kind of like it all together. Okay, that would be a best use of my tiny whisk. I won't mention the tiny whisk until I get it. Alright, so our sugar is now mixed. And we're gonna move on with the frying of the donuts. Alright, also one more thing. I filled up my piping bag with some hazelnut paste. We're ready to go for the filling. We're gonna cook them all the way through, let them cool down before we actually stuff them. So our donut with the parchment paper, and we're gonna just place that right on the frying oil, and you're gonna see it's going to just unhinged like that. And then we're gonna repeat the process with them all. I'm just gonna cook 2 at a time. There we go. All right, so we're gonna cook them on the first side until it gets golden brown. Then we're gonna flip them, make sure it's golden brown on both sides, and we're gonna put them onto parchment paper to remove the exceed oil, onto the cinnamon sugar, and we'll repeat the process with them all. Okay, so our donuts are now nice and golden brown, so we're just going to flip them gently so we don't break them. There we go. And we're gonna cook them on the other side now. All right, the donuts are cooked on both sides, so we're just gonna take them off the oil, make sure we remove as much oil as possible, put them onto our tray. There we go, we're gonna flip them so remove all that extra oil. We can put 2 more into the oil to cook. There we go. And then what I'm going to be doing is just take my donut and just put it into the cinnamon sugar, flip it, make sure we cover both sides. Same idea, get a nice coating of sugar, flip it, and I will do that with them all. All our beignets are fully cooked. So next, to grab my piping bag with the hazelnut paste. Okay, and then we're going to fill them up. You don't have to squeeze the whole thing in, otherwise they're gonna be too rich. I mean, can they be too rich? But I mean, and we're just gonna stuff the piping bag in them. So make sure there's a good amount. There we go. I can fill them later if need be. So here we have a delicious beignet. I'm actually going to crack one open with you guys. If you enjoyed this recipe, as always, comment and subscribe. If you want to see anything on the channel, drop a comment. Wow, do you see this? This is just ooey gooey goodness. Oh my goodness. Guys, doesn't get better than that.